Hello, gorgeous. Welcome to HG Radio, everything beauty, cancer, and inspiration. Here is your co-founder and host, Kim Becker.
Hello, gorgeous. You are listening to Hello, Gorgeous, everything beauty, cancer, and inspiration on Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. I'm your host, Kim Becker, once a hairdresser and a salon owner, now the founder of a nonprofit organization that coaches and trains women with cancer to help them smile when they look in the mirror. And if you ask me, I'll tell you that I have the best job in the whole world. This episode is brought to you by Amplified Marketing Group. They specialize in affordable mobile solutions that will get you noticed and help you retain customers. Check them out at www.amplified.marketing. Our guest today is Tina Conrad. Tina is a 7-year breast cancer survivor and an advocate for women's breast health. Diagnosed at age 37 in 2013, Tina's mother is a 2-time breast cancer survivor and has actively been involved in breast cancer activities and advocacy since 2001. Tina's story must be told. She has lived with the breast cancer journey both as a survivor and the daughter of one. Tina knows both sides of the story. She's been the ears that have heard, the eyes that have watched, and the handholder. She too has been the body that has been sick, weak, and worn. Her soul has come forward, unyielding optimism about her own future and that of her fellow survivors. Through her experiences, those affected by breast cancer will find inspiration, and they too can hope for a promising future that will wipe away the pain of the past, replacing it with joy and gratitude. Tina is the creator of Breast Cancer, a podcast regarding her own breast cancer journey and those making a difference in breast cancer. DJ Breast Cancer is a podcast focused on Tina's inspirational journey through breast cancer, with episodes on diagnosis, chemo, radiation, faith, and life after cancer. A girlfriend's guide to breast cancer for those facing breast cancer or any type of adversity. Tina describes the challenges and beauty from a lifelong altering diagnosis. DJ Breast Cancer is dedicated with love to the memory of Sandy Clausen, a beautiful pink sister who never stopped fighting. Tina is highly engaged on social media with breast cancer survivors and community. Hi, Tina, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Kim. So good to talk to you again.
Oh my gosh. I know I had the honor of being a guest on your show not long ago. And after we chatted and I learned more about you and how you advocate, I thought, oh, my listeners need to hear all about you and what you do and your story. So thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I mean, I knew when I read your article in that magazine that you and I were just meant to connect.
I think so too. So I want to hear all about the podcast and that kind of thing. But, you know, I feel so strongly about women advocating for themselves and not just shunning something aside that they don't feel is right. I would love for you to share your breast cancer journey, like your diagnosis. Like, how did you find... Yeah. How were you told that you had breast cancer? How did you find it? Was it through self-examination or was it through a mammogram? Tell me that story.
Yes, I noticed that there was a change in my breast. So the nipple had actually kind of sunken in. And as crazy as it sounds, even with my mom, having breast cancer 2 times, in my own head, I just kind of brushed it off as being old age. And it sounds crazy in retrospect now, but like when you're living your life and you're busy, it just, I don't know, sometimes it doesn't wake up and hit you in the face like that. And one day a coworker had a totally different life-changing experience with health, but not breast cancer. And it just kind of made me turn inside and really take notice. And I said, you know what, I'm going to make an appointment with my OBGYN and get a mammogram. And I had a mammogram when I was 30 and 33. So I had some good baselines, to look at. And they're like, you know what, let's get you in for mammogram. And then when I got that call back and they wanted me to come back in, it's just like I knew. I just had the sinking feeling that, it's just not right. And so I went in for that second mammogram, which led to an ultrasound, which led to a biopsy, and ultimately, the diagnosis of having breast cancer at the age of 37, which, even though my mom had it and she was in her 40s when she was diagnosed, it just really did take me by surprise. I think because of my age and just being in my 30s, I just felt like such a crazy thing to even accept at that point in time.
Well, and I've seen pictures of you, when I did my research, you were young, you were healthy, you were vibrant. I think that that's where, and I would I'm assuming that you would say this can't, even though your mom had it, I would imagine you would just say, this can't be happening to me. I look too healthy. There's nothing wrong with me. I don't have any, do you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
that's where I would go.
Yeah, and I was just like promoted to like, this job of my dreams. I had just been married for about 5 months. And maybe in my mind too, I just didn't think I had time, to deal with it. But yes, I mean, you just feel, I honestly did feel very healthy at the time. Now, I mean, I feel now again, I've made even healthier decisions in my life. But you're right. Like, just because someone looks healthy doesn't necessarily mean that there's not something going on the inside. And that really kind of back to your point of advocacy and noticing changes within your body. Like, it all starts with you as an individual. And it really, you have to be that voice. If there is any change to your breast for longer than 30 days, it is a reason to have a conversation with a doctor. And even in these COVID times, whether it's telehealth or whatever it is, you really still need to have those conversations. And that's just such an important message that I can't strongly, get across enough.
Well, I want to reiterate that too, to anybody who's listening that is putting off going to the doctor because of COVID. One of my mentors is in the United Kingdom. And on top of all the COVID stuff, what they are preparing for when all the COVID stuff is over is a massive amount of late stage cancer diagnoses, because people are putting things off. They're putting visits off. They're putting symptoms off. They're just poo-pooing them and they're not going to the doctors. So where something could be treated easily now with a surgery or radiation or whatever, the longer that it goes, obviously the worse that it gets. And so the doctors and the hospitals are preparing for a lot of late stage cancer diagnoses when COVID is over. So I want to just encourage people, just reiterate what you said. If you've got something going on, don't let COVID scare you out of not going to the doctor. Go anyway and get it done, because at least if it's caught early, you may have to go through treatment, but it may not be as massive if what it needs to be if they find it later stage.
Yeah. And I don't have any breast tissue left to do a mammogram, but I know multiple people who have gone to mammograms in these COVID times have completely said that they felt 100% safe. Just all the COVID procedures that are in place. I've gone to doctors for, I get ongoing treatments and medications, and I have always felt safe at the hospital. So I just really want to encourage people that, I get that there's fear and I get that there's anxiety, but it's just really so important. And I think there's a statistic that like 50 to 60% less cancer diagnoses have happened in the year 2020. And that there's not 50 to 60% less cancers out there. So
that's right.
It's just really, really so important that you take, the initiative for your own health.
I agree. So let's talk about then the podcast. So you decided like you wanted to start a podcast. Where did that come from? Because like not everybody wakes up one day and says, I think I'll start a podcast.
Yeah.
How did that happen for you?
Well, I felt like I had a really unique experience. I felt with my own diagnosis being so young, and then with my mom having it. My mom actually had breast cancer 2 times. Thankfully, she's been, well since 2003. But it really put me into a unique perspective. And I felt I always had my mom and my mom always had me. But I know there are so many other women out there that are facing this kind of alone for the first time. I saw my mom when she went through it. She was alone in that we didn't really have another family member having gone through it. So I really was kind of like a lot of her support system, along with my dad and my brother. But I felt that there's so many people out there that are really kind of navigating these waters all by themselves, and they just maybe need a girlfriend. They need some help, and even a cheerleader, just to tell them on the bad days, like it's going to be okay, and you can feel your feelings and you can get through this. But I just felt that the world needed that. And then I lost a friend, as you mentioned in the intro, a really dear friend that was part of my support group. Her name is Sandy Clausen, and I lost her in 2015, and I think it's 2017. It really rocked my world. And I had this dream. I had an idea of starting a podcast, but when I lost my friend, it put it into high gear. And it's hard to explain unless you've been through something, so life-changing as that you can't leave anything on the table. Like if you have a dream, if you have a wish, if you have a goal, And it's what, and you know, because you had that voice inside of you too,
That's
to
right.
to start Hello Gorgeous. But
That's right.
I just felt like I have to do this. The world needs this. And whether it was God or the Holy Spirit or whatever speaking through me, it just felt like it needed to be done. And it had to come, from my heart. And so she's always kind of been my North Star in every decision that I make. And I really just do my best to honor her and to be that support that she was also for me for my treatments. She took me to many chemos, many different appointments, because she was kind of at an off, peak for that kind of thing, so she could drive me. But it was just, I really just wanted to honor her and, to see it, pay it forward, I guess is my way of saying it.
I love that. And it, like what you said, I wish more people, I think that a lot of people will get a prompting or a stirring inside of them. And I'm sure like you, like, when I answered the call to Hello Gorgeous, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I didn't know what it was like to start a nonprofit or run a national nonprofit or trailblaze, and I'm sure it's the same thing with you. It's scary to be able to do this, but it's been successful, and it's not about you. What the reason, the whole motivation for you to start this, which I love, is the fact that there are women that are out there that don't have that girlfriend that can answer the questions or that can be that voice of reason to them. That's why you started this. It's not about you being fearful to do it. You're doing it. Your why is something bigger than yourself. And that's what I found with Hello Gorgeous too. It's not about me. It's about these women that we get an opportunity to serve, to be able to be there to help them through it. So I commend you for taking that leap in faith, because that's huge.
Thank you. It's truly been a blessing in so many ways, as you know too, and just such a fulfillment, of truly my passion. And I love what I do with my podcast. It really does make me a better person.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit, like, how did breast cancer change your outlook on life?
Yeah, so it really changed everything, which is kind of crazy to say, but I'm still type A, don't get me wrong, but I was like 100% focused on my career, just really kind of unbalanced in a lot of ways, but it really took my priorities to a new perspective, and it really shined a light in some dark places and created a change in me that I had to kind of be more balanced. I really needed to start with faith and my relationship with God. And I kind of put everything now through that lens first. I start each day, with prayer. I end each day with prayer. And, I seek God, wherever I need to. And then I wrote a piece. I did a lot of writing actually in this time, which was kind of nice to get back to that like creative spark. And I realized like, my job really hadn't changed in all of this time, but I had changed. And that was okay. And it was kind of accepting that I had changed and what I was going to do with it from that point forward. So I really used it as an opportunity to create change within myself and to hopefully inspire others, to be okay with change too. So, a cancer diagnosis, it's scary stuff. I'm not saying it's not scary, but there can be some, some opportunities to kind of clean house, look at yourself, and just really see, is this what I want to do in my life? And, and you can change that. And for that, there was a grace in that. And it was a beautiful thing for me, just in total.
And I agree, you can either be bitter or better.
Yeah.
Joyce Meyer has always said that, right? I mean, it's just a matter of a vowel, but you really can be bitter or better. And you can either take this and do something positive with it, or you cannot. I mean, that's why God gave us free will, I feel, right? Because you can do one or the two. And I love that you decided to take this journey and make not only your life better, but the other people that are around you, their life are better too, because of you.
Oh, well, thank you. And it's truly been a blessing for me, 100%.
So what is the silver lining from breast cancer? Is there one?
Oh, yeah, there's many actually, but for one, it's actually been the ultimate training for COVID, which sounds kind of crazy, but just the periods of self-isolation that I had during, chemo and like not being able to be with people. It was a lot of time with my thoughts and with myself and perspective, and it really has helped me